Welcome to the Good Morning from the Chicken Coop podcast with Kim Johnson, your creative strategist and master mindset coach. Filled with inspiration, distinctions, perspectives, and possibilities, we help you to cultivate a mindset that leads you to create the best version of yourself you could ever imagine. Join Kim every morning from one of her favorite happy places, her chicken coop, along with all her chickens.
Hey everybody, good morning from the chicken coop. So yesterday we talked about how our emotions are just annoying to us, and a lot of us, just believe they're terrible. And I gave you a little bit of a direction on that and talked about the fact that our emotions are not bad, they're just information. And then gave you an assignment at the end of it to sit down and write it all out. Well, today I want to continue that because I think it's important to not leave you hanging and say, okay, well now I've got this all written down, now what am I supposed to do? So let's assume you did the assignment. Let's assume you sat down, you were very neutral. Let's assume you wrote it all out. You've got your, what are the emotions that show up for you, and realizing, okay, what are the triggers for those emotions? What are the things that are happening around it? And realizing, whatever, and I used a work situation because it was the easiest and most common one for people, but it could be anything. It could be your spouse, it could be your kids, it could be every time you see somebody, in your house put laundry in the laundry room on the floor. It's just such a hot button, somebody says, oh my God, now your emotions are all over the place, and you getting upset, you feel is like it's out of control. And again, emotions are not a bad thing. They're just information. It just means you don't have a good system in the laundry room, or you guys have not agreed. 9 times out of 10, most of the things that happen are people haven't agreed on how to do things. So, and that's why we're talking about this today. So let's continue that for a second. I started with the work one, so I want to go back to that one because I think when I did that, it was very valid for most of us. Not necessarily being happy at work. So let's say you've got these situations that are just not, conducive, whether it's the people on your team, whether you've got to deal with somebody. I think that's pretty common, where we all have to interact with other people, and we all feel like we're back in 5th grade science with, the kid who doesn't assign to us, that doesn't want to do anything. And, of course, you're in the science group, so, there are 4 of you, and there's always going to be one of you that doesn't want to do something. So he sits and he's lazy and he gets the good grade anyway. And that's so frustrating. I know that happened to me constantly. It was very frustrating. And I never understood what I understand now about how to deal with it. So in your work situation, let's say you have someone that is in your group, on your team, you didn't bring them on, and that person is assigned. They're part of it. You couldn't make that choice, but they're there. And there's frustration around it, and you have emotion around it, and it's very irritating. Well, the very first thing you did when you did that assignment was figured out what are the buttons. Now the trick is going back and saying, okay, what do I have to do next? What are the next steps in order to progress out of this? So you start looking, you don't ask how, you ask what. What are the next steps that I need to take in this? Do I need to tell somebody about this? Do I need to create a different situation? Do I need to assign something to this person that makes them show up or shut up? Do I need to give them a conversation directly, right to them? Do I need to have a conversation where it's just us having this very poignant spot of like, look, here's where we are, this is what I want to do, but you don't approach it with making them wrong. You just say, listen, I want to help us all succeed, and I would very much like us to solve these issues. Do you get the whole group together that you work with and say, hey, everybody should do this exercise, let's figure out all the things that are not working and see if we can solve all of them. Now I will say this, 9 times out of 10, doing the group exercise is excellent because you would be amazed at how many other people are irritated by things, and often they're irritated with you. And it's not easy to hear some of this stuff. I've been in that spot where, you move too fast for us. You don't take into consideration that we're not up to speed on the same information that you are. And early on in my career, in my world, that was the case, where I didn't have patience for that. I didn't know I wasn't meeting people where they were. I thought I was, but I wasn't. And that was causing them stress. So my point is, you have to, if you pull everybody together and you actually have a conversation, whether it's your family, whether it's your group at work, your friends, wherever the trouble lies, but you don't do it from the emotional state of making people wrong. You do it from, this is information. So listen, obviously, if I was doing this with my family, I would say, listen, obviously, and I've done this with my family, you do it from calm, and you say, I want to make things really run smoothly in the house for this summer. Let's say it's the summer coming up. I don't want to feel like nobody's doing everything and everyone's on vacation for 3 months and I'm doing all the work. So let's talk about it. Do you have things this summer that are seemingly irritating to you? What are the things that irritate you? And just a blanket, just listen and collect all the information and figure it out. I asked my son the other day, what would summer look like if it was super successful for you? And he said, well, that I could sleep in every morning and not be woken up early. Now, here's the thing. I was the one that was waking him up early, and I didn't realize that was something he didn't want. I was like, oh, okay. So how late is late? Does it really matter to me if he's up early or not? No. As long as he gets his stuff done, I don't care. But by asking that question, I got clear. So you've got to go on an information hunt. And that's what I suggest you do with yourself, with your people. Go and find out those buttons. Because once you find out those buttons, then you can take action and you can decide as a group or you can decide as an individual, but you can't do it without information. So hopefully this is helpful and it closes that loop, and I will see you guys tomorrow.